I am so happy that you are here because I want to talk about the 3 steps, simple steps that you can take to stop thinking about changing your life and starting that business and actually start the damn thing right now. So
Yes.
for me personally, Marie, number one is just make the decision. Decide that this is the year that you're going to stop thinking and that you're going to do what it takes. And there is this moment for all of us where there's a line in the sand and it's like before life and then the life after you made this decision. And before I tell the moment that I knew I was going to do it, I'd love to hear what was the moment for you when you actually decided, I'm taking control of my life and I'm going to figure this out.
It was a moment when I got a phone call from an HR department. I'm going to give you a little context, but I had a call. It was for an enormous promotion. It was more money. It was more prestige. It was more everything. And that little voice inside me said, no more. I can't do this. So let me paint the context.
Yeah.
I had started my career on Wall Street, on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, right? I had ambition. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to do so many things. But after about 6 months at that job, I felt like even though everyone around me was making a gajillion dollars, spiritually, they were bankrupt. And I kept hearing this small voice inside Mel that said, Marie, this isn't you. This isn't who you're meant to be. This isn't what you're meant to do. You're meant to do something else. But here's the problem. I didn't know what that something else was. And that voice tortured me for about 6 months until one day I was on the floor and I remember feeling dizzy, almost like I was having a panic attack, quite frankly. And I told my boss, hey, look, I need to go out and get some coffee. And he said, fine, go on a coffee break and come right back. Except I didn't go get coffee. I went to the steps of a church. It was Trinity Church downtown. And I sat in the steps and I cried so hard, Mel, because I felt like such a broken person. I don't come from money. My parents busted their chops to put me in school. I'm the first person in my family to even go to college. And here I was wanting to quit a stable job, yet not knowing what else I was supposed to do. And my dad gave me a piece of critical advice that not only saved my butt, but that set me on the path. And that advice was this. He said, Marie, you're going to wind up working for the next 40, 50 years of your life. You have to find something that you love, something that you feel like you're meant to do. And if this job is making you so sick that you came to me crying on the phone, then you need to quit and figure out what it is. I know you've always bartended, you've always waited tables, you've always babysat. I'm not worried about you keeping a roof over your head, but you've got to figure this out. And Mel, I gave my notice. And then I went on. I said, what the hell am I supposed to do in this world? I don't know. The only things I knew was that I loved creativity and I also loved business. And I thought, well, can I combine these two? Maybe I should work in, I don't know, women's magazines. You have to get, this was back in the late 90s, right? And so I got a job at Gourmet magazine in the ad sales department. And I was like, this is great. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to be a professional. There's like, a much different environment. Wall Street was like 99% men. I love men, but it was just way imbalanced. And the magazine world was a lot more integrated. So 6 months into that job, I started hearing that small voice again. Marie, this isn't who you are. This isn't what you're meant to do. This isn't who you're supposed to be in the world. And I'm thinking, Mel, what's wrong with me? I know I'm a smart person. Why do I want to quit this job? I don't have a trust fund. I'm not, made of money. I need to work and I want to work, but I can't stand going to work every single day. I went to the HR department at Condé Nast Publications. I said, look, maybe, I need just a different position in a different career. I've been so heavily weighted on the business side, Wall Street, ad sales at Gourmet. Maybe I need to flex my creative side a little bit. So, an opportunity came up to be a fashion assistant at Mademoiselle magazine. And I was like, this has got to be it. This is supposed to be my life's path, super creative. I'm going to be going out doing like fashion shows and all this stuff. So I nailed this job and I'm in there and I'm happy at first because it was novel and new and that was stimulating. But a few months in, that same voice came back again. Marie, this isn't who you are. This isn't what you're meant to do. This isn't what you're supposed to be. And Mel, I will tell you, I felt broken at this point. All of my other friends were going off on their journeys. They were starting families. They were getting big promotions. They were buying houses. And here I was years after college, couldn't hold down a job because I constantly wanted to quit. And the other thing that kind of really got a little bunch in my pants, if I'm honest, was I couldn't make sense of the fact that no matter how hard I worked, I would earn the same exact amount every single week. And I would have to basically go to somebody else and kind of beg them to give me more money. And as someone who bartended her way through college, I knew that if I worked a little harder and I gave better service, I would create bigger profits, bigger tips. Anyway, one day happens when I'm at Mademoiselle. I'm on the internet when I probably shouldn't have been. And I read an article about this new profession at the time called coaching. Again, you got to remember, this is 1999. No one had heard of coaches, it wasn't even a thing. And I started reading about this profession, and this feeling came inside of me that was basically like a Christmas tree lighting up. You know, when I read about this possibility of this business that could be location independent, that could support people, you could do it from anywhere, I was like, this sounds like me. But I also had that other mean voice in my head that said, who the hell would hire a 23-year-old life coach? You haven't even lived life yet. You keep failing at every job you're at. You're in piles and piles of debt. You don't know what the hell you're doing. This is going to be one more thing you fail at. So I didn't listen to that mean voice, and I signed up for a 3-year coaching program that was all virtual at the time, which was groundbreaking back then, all teleseminars. And I started doing my coach training at night, and then was at Mademoiselle during the day. And then one day the HR department called me with an opportunity to go to Vogue. That was my moment. That was my fork in the road. Do you go to the best fashion magazine in the world and have a real job, healthcare, steady benefits, you're doing something that people understand? Or do you quit and start this weird ass life coaching business that no one has ever heard of, that you think sounds cheesy as hell, that you're probably going to fail at, that you don't even know what to do, and it's probably not going to work? And so that was my moment when I decided I can no longer keep beating my head against the wall trying to be an employee because I suck at it. And I'm no longer going to keep toiling away at doing things that I'm really not meant to do for basically no money. I need to go this other way.
Okay. So, first of all, my mind is blown because 1999 was the year that my line in the sand was drawn. And it's also the year that I started to study and become a life coach. And I did not know that you and I synergistically had this. So, secondly, I want to unpack a little bit about what you just said, and then I'll tell my story, because there was a lot in there that I think if you're thinking about this business that you want to start, or thinking about how you need to pivot your business online, or thinking about, well, what the hell would I start a business? I know I want one, but how do I don't even know what the idea is. There were so many things that you talked about. So you have literally helped more than 70,000 people start businesses, identify what businesses to start. You've helped countless women become millionaires. And so you must be able to identify for somebody, what does it feel like when that voice is talking to you? Like, because not everybody understands, like you've been thinking about something, but there is a voice that is saying this doesn't work for you. This isn't the right path for you. Can you kind of expand that out? So if somebody's been trapped in the thinking,
Yes,
they realize that, oh, like my wisdom, my intuition has been trying to get my attention for a while. What does that mean, Marie?
So that voice will nag at you. It will nag at you in the morning when you're getting up, and it will whisper that you're on the wrong path. During your day, whenever you're doing your job, you're going to get these uncomfortable feelings inside, like something is not right. You're not where you're supposed to be. When you're at home, you're probably thinking about or fantasizing about something different. You might be looking at people that run their own business, and there's this dream inside of you because I wish I could do that. You may be even too scared at this point to fully admit, but that's your fantasy. So that's some of the indications that your intuition, your internal knowing, your soul, that I believe is trying to speak to you. And mine was for years until it got so loud and I was just so stubborn trying to go and stay on this conventional path. But I'm not a conventional person. And I bet there's so many people that are watching right now that don't fit into a box. I've never either. And so I had to have enough pain, of doing the wrong thing and ignoring that voice than to finally say, you know what? I've tried all this other stuff and I've failed, so I don't have anything else to lose.
You know
And
what
I
I also
can't,
love that you just said, Marie, is this idea of being in a box. I always felt when I worked for somebody else that I was stuck in a box I didn't belong in. And, I love that you said that it whispers, because if you don't pay attention to the fact that all this thinking that you're doing is because you're not supposed to be working for somebody else. You're supposed to do something more.
yes,
You're supposed to be in control. You're not supposed to fit into that box. And for me, it became a freaking sledgehammer. So in 1999, I was working at a law firm. I absolutely hated it, and I would commute into work. So I would get my little suit on and I would get on the commuter train and I would take that commuter rail into Boston and I would walk from the station to the high rise and I'd go up the elevator. And every single step that I took toward that office building, my body felt like, ugh, do I have to do this? And look, I love working like you. I have worked since kids could have paper routes. I have waitressed and bus tables and bartended and lifeguarded and babysat just like you. I worked all through college. I worked through law school, and I have never not liked working. But boy, when you're in the wrong situation, energetically your body is trying to get your attention. You're
yes,
wired for happiness, you're wired for growth. And so when you're not in that situation, your whole inside start to twist. And I would literally feel my body going, I hate this, turn around, turn around. But like you're sitting there saying, who am I to quit? And
yes.
by the way, I didn't know what else I was going to do. I had no idea. Plus, like, and so here's what happened. I got pregnant. Okay, that's not the end of the story, but I get pregnant. Okay. I go on maternity leave and I have like a 10-week maternity leave. Week 6, I start having panic attacks because I have 4 weeks before I have to go back to a job I freaking hate. And so I go to my husband and I say, I need to quit my job. And he looks at me and he says, well, first of all, you're crazy. I stepped on my glasses this morning, so I got to keep adjusting them because they start looking like this. And then I actually do look kind of crazy. So he says, first of all, you're crazy. You will literally go out of your mind, Mel, if you're not working because you love working. And number 2, I don't know if you forgot, but we just bought this farmhouse and we're not like, we got a mortgage to pay. And so I'll never forget it. He said, here's the deal. He crunched the numbers and he said, you need to figure out how to make $60,000. Because if you can make $60,000, we can pay the mortgage, we can pay for childcare, and we'll figure it out. We'll be okay. We can get rid of one of the cars. We can and it sounds like a lot of money, but I was like, okay. So I had 3.5 weeks and I had a problem to solve. And that's the moment I made this decision. I decided that this was the moment that I was going to figure this out. This was the moment that I was going to stop freaking thinking about what I wanted to do and thinking about how much I hated the path that I was on. And I was going to do the work to freaking figure it out. And it took me until the night before I was supposed to go back to work to network and find a job. And when they offered me the money, it was $55,000. And I was like, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. And this was the first .com startup bubble. And I talked my way into a job because I had decided that I was going to figure this out. I drew a line in the sand. And so if you're watching, whether you feel guilty because you got debt, or who are you, or you feel like an imposter like Marie's talking about, or you simply hate your job like I did, I want you to decide right now. There's a line in the sand, and you're going to do whatever it takes to do the work to figure this out. This is the moment right here. And let me tell you, I called Marie in because, as I mentioned, you guys are blowing up in my DMs and the comments asking for advice about this. You want to start something. You can feel that it's time. You feel that this is what you know is right, but you don't know what the to do. Well, this lady right here, she is the expert in what to do. And so here's step number 2. We promised 3 steps to get you to stop thinking. Number 1, you've decided. This is it. No more. Marie, Mel, tell me what to do next. Well, here's number 2. You're going to hate this. You don't have an idea? Great. Go. You don't know how to start? Great. You're in. You don't feel ready? Awesome. Game on. Let's go. Like, that's how this is going to roll, because you got to start before you're ready. And by the way, everybody, I'm doing this right now. I literally have sat around and watched people like Marie and my friends, Jay Shetty and Lewis, like everybody that you guys listen to launch podcasts. And I'm like, I'm not ready. I don't know. I don't know when my podcast is going to be. I'm thinking about it. I hadn't made a decision. You have to start before you're ready. I started now. I'm like, that's it. I don't feel ready to do a podcast. I'm going all in. I'm freaking figuring it out. I'm starting before I'm ready. I know, Marie, you believe in this, you teach this, but what the hell does that even mean when you don't even know what your business idea is?
Well, there are many different ways to start before you're ready. You're right. Making the decision is step 1. One of my other life mantras is that everything is figure outable. We live in the most miraculous time in history, right? So if there's any challenge, if there's any question, if there's any possibility that you're interested in exploring, you can figure it out. And starting just means taking some action. So for people out there that are watching right now, that you have an inkling of the idea that you want to start, you probably know something that you could do to take it to that next level. So that could be around opening a business checking account to kind of create the space and to say, you know what, I'm going to kind of put this line in the sand. I'm going to create the space for money.
Wait, even if you don't have an idea?
Oh, well, okay. So if you don't have an idea, I'm just going to be honest about this. I've met so many people, thousands of people over the years who don't have an idea. You can generate ideas. You are a born creator. Every great business comes down to solving a problem for someone, figuring out their fears, their frustrations, or their dreams and their aspirations, and meeting that need. It's not that complicated. It is not rocket scientist. You do not need to have an advanced degree in order to become extremely successful as an entrepreneur. I don't. I barely sometimes can put proper sentences together, and that hasn't stopped me in over 2 friggin' decades. So you don't need to be a rocket scientist in order to come up with a great business idea. And in terms of business ideas, here's the one thing that I will say. I want you to generate a lot of them. When you're in that brainstorming mode of thinking about potential things that you could start up as a business, there's no bad ideas to start. You want to get out of the editing mode, out of trying to get it perfect, trying to get it, the exact one thing. That's not how business works. All of us start off really messy at first. In a little bit, we'll tell you about a problem that I solved for people, which is helping them vet their ideas, test their ideas in very low risk, low cost ways so that they can figure out which business idea is actually going to give them the greatest chance for success. No one has a business crystal ball. No one can guarantee it's actually going to work, but there are smart methodologies that you can use at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey to give yourself the best possible chance of hitting something out of the park.
I got a confession, everybody. So I have watched Marie for over a decade, and I have been in awe and jealous and inspired and motivated and discouraged because Marie is a machine. And Marie literally jumps in with both feet. And one of the coolest things is that I think part of the problem, and one of the reasons why we all get so stuck thinking about what we want, but we don't ever take the step forward and take the action and make the decision and just say, screw it. I'm just going to start. I'm going to kind of whack my way forward and start moving toward what I want, is because we think we have to do it on our own.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here as I listen to you and your wisdom and the fact that you have helped more than 70,000 people do this. You are the expert in this. How you go from thinking to actually having a real business when you have zero experience, it scares you, but you are drawn toward it anyway. Is I'm like, God, I wish you were around 20 years ago. This would have saved me so much trouble, so much headache, so much loneliness to learn from somebody like you earlier. Well, the good news is that I got you now. And the thing that I'm so excited to introduce Marie to you. The thing that I also really want to say about this is that it is enough to know that you want to do something to start walking toward it. And for the women out there, I got to say something, and I know you know this, Marie, but perfectionism
Oh,
is something that started when you were 13. Like there's research on this. Boys and girls at the age of 11, we have the exact same level of confidence. By the time girls hit puberty at 12 and your body starts to change and you lose control over it, girls' confidence plummets by 30%. And within one more year, by the age of 13, the majority of girls not only struggle with perfectionism, but based on the scientific research, the majority of girls by the age of 13 are afraid to make a mistake. And perfectionism is a coping mechanism for judgment. You're afraid somebody's going to judge you. You're afraid of getting it wrong. You're afraid of looking stupid. You're afraid that somebody's not going to love you anymore. You're afraid that your partner's going to be mad at you or your kids won't do this. And all of this fear is what's actually stopping you. And the perfectionism is this, it's bull. You're sitting there thinking, I got to have the perfect idea because that's going to make it a success. It's actually the opposite, right, Marie?
Oh my God, completely. So a couple things. I have so much to say. One, we always strive for, and this is what I drill into both our students. I drill it into myself because I always have to keep watch over those perfectionist tendencies. They don't just go away. It's progress, not perfection. And just to be real, y'all, I was a hot mess when I started my business. I was all over the place. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I screwed up so many times, and I'm still here over 20 years later. So you do not have to get this perfect out of the gate. You do not even have to have the perfect first idea. All you need to do, as Mel said, is decide, this is my line in the sand. I want more for myself. I want more for my family. I want the financial freedom, the location freedom, the life freedom that entrepreneurship provides. And I will figure it out because everything is figure outable. And honestly, 99% of what you need to do to grow a business. And again, we're in this. Mel was just talking about the fact she doesn't know exactly how to start a podcast. There's things that we're doing in our business. We don't know what the hell we're doing, but we don't look for perfectionism. We're like, no, we are charging ahead and we will figure it out as we go because everything is figure outable. And we surround ourselves. Like Mel and I are colleagues and friends now. And we have other friends that we're like, hey, we're doing something new. What you mentioned, Mel, was so important. You don't have to go at this alone. When I started, I was terrified. I didn't have any colleagues. And I felt like, just blindly reaching around in the dark, stumbling, tripping over stuff. And quite frankly, Mel, that's why I started teaching around entrepreneurship over 13 years ago, because I was watching so many smart, creative women who were stepping outside, apart from the corporate path and wanting to do their own thing. And here's what they would say to me, Mel. They'd say, I have this idea, or I know I want to do my own thing, but I need to go find a business partner. I need to go find someone who understands marketing and sales because I'm just the idea person. Someone else should do that, right? I'm not qualified, or I'm not going to get it right. And Mel, I would want to shake the shit out of them because I said, look, if you are someone who believes in your product and your service and you don't learn the just handful of things that you need to know to market and sell effectively, you are stealing from those who need you most. And you are setting yourself up for failure. You are setting yourself up to get taken advantage of by people who know more than you. And you are setting yourself up to fail because you won't even be able to effectively hire a team to support you because you don't know what the hell they should be doing, whether it's effective or not. So I had to have this huge conversation with so many people around how to take an idea or start their idea and actually become effective at it. So not only could the craft of what they're doing succeed, but the business end of it as well. That's a whole other conversation. And that's when I realized that I had to codify this and put it into a training, because this is what I wished I had access to when I first started. And it took me 7 years of continuing to wait tables and bartend
Right.
and do all the different things before I was confident enough financially and emotionally to run my business on my own.
Okay, so I want also everybody to hear this. This is not about I'm just going to quit my job and then jump in and no. This is about, and here's step number 3, to stop thinking and actually start that business now. You decide, you start by taking action because as Marie says in her New York Times best-selling book, everything's figure outable. But number 3, the step is you got to adopt a different mindset. So let's flip away the perfectionism that you got to know everything and you got to know it all and be right. And let's adopt a student mindset. You must become a student and start studying the thing that you want to become great at. And who are you going to study? You're going to study the greatest person on the planet, which is Marie, because she's taught 70,000 people how to do this. Okay. And she's got millionaires around her who went from nothing to lots and lots of money and freedom. And so whether you are sitting there going, I want to start something, but I don't know what, blah, 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 you're in the right place. Or if you're like so many of my friends, I've got so many friends because I'm 53 who are like, Marie, I've been an interior designer for 2 decades.
Yep.
I see people like Studio McGee and Amber and all these people exploding online. I don't even, should I be on TikTok? Should I be on Instagram? Do I have a what? Blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know what to do. This is what you need to do. You need to learn from somebody like Marie because she's going to teach you how to stop thinking. Should I be on TikTok? Should I be on Instagram? Should I buy ads? Should I do this? Should I do a market? Should I do? And she's going to teach you how to start and evolve that side of your business. And you're going to need to study it. And it's easy stuff when you have somebody who has been there. It's easy to be a student when you're learning from a master. And that's what you've been doing. That's what you've been doing, right? And so what do people need to actually start to study, Marie?
So this is one of the best lessons I had when I was going through my coach training. And I will never forget this. You know, they taught you could be the best coach in the entire world. You could be so effective at helping people transform their lives and creating change. But if you don't master the business side of a coaching business, you will fail. You will not have any clients, you won't have any longevity, and you will not make the impact that you were born to make. And Mel, I got that message because I understood that there is the art and the craft of whatever we do. Whether you are a designer, you could be an interior designer or a website designer, you could be a chef, you could be someone who works with animals, you could be someone who creates online apps. It doesn't matter what the art is, the craft is of what you do. It matters that you're able to market and sell that effectively because I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've seen it, Mel, and I'm sure the people who have seen it have witnessed this. There are mediocre products and services out there that somehow have someone behind them that know their game when it comes to marketing and sales. And that there are other people who are super talented and super great at what they do, but they don't have clients. They don't have money. They're constantly in scarcity and survival. What's the difference? It's that second piece. So the thing that you need to know is that no matter what you want to do to make a difference in the world, whatever that gift is that you want to share with others, you must commit to mastering what I call modern marketing. And I want to give a quick distinction here. So many, especially women, but not all, people, especially creative people, and I have a lot of creative men and all genders in my life who eschew like, oh, sales and marketing. Oh, I don't want to be a used car salesman. I don't want to be manipulative. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be aggressive. I don't want to annoy my family and friends and come off like, whatever. And I always let them know, I'm like, it's understandable that you have those associations because most of us think of sales and marketing like used car salesmen or people that are aggressive. But what most people are unaware of, that there's actually this whole other paradigm of marketing that I call modern marketing, where the best of your humanity comes out, not the worst, where all of your creativity gets to pour through, where you're flexing the muscles of generosity, of compassion, of empathy, of listening, of creating such extraordinary experiences for people even before they give you money. And then they'll line up around the corner with their credit card when you have an offer for them. It is a completely different way, not only of understanding marketing, but of actually practicing the art of it. That again, I'm living proof, and we have hundreds and hundreds of case studies where people are able to be in their business at their full selves, where anything that they do to share about their products and their services comes across like art, and people thank them for actually letting them know that it exists. And they have waiting lists and they sell things out in the best way. It's like, you want to be a sellout. Anyone's like, I don't want to be a sellout. I'm like, nope, be a sellout. You want things sold out. You want crowd sold out. You want books sold out. We got to flip all of this on its head. But that all comes down to being willing to be a student, to understand what you don't know, and then being able to acquire these skills that, quite honestly, Mel, will give you financial freedom for life. You often talk about taking control. I'm someone who wanted to take control of my own destiny. I wanted control of my own time. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to be able to pour my financial, my intellectual, my spiritual resources towards that which mattered most to me. And my business, entrepreneurship, has been the vehicle that has allowed me to grow better as a person, almost beyond anything else that I've done.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I have got to talk to you. This is one of my oldest and dearest friends. She was in my wedding 25 years ago. This is Mo Bonner, and we are in Middlebury, Vermont. And this is her brand new store, Addison West. And I wanted to make this video because I'm always telling you to freaking go for it. You're never too old to reinvent your life. This woman right here, you have been dreaming about having your own modern Vermont general store, lifestyle brand for how long?
40 years maybe? Yeah, talking to you about it for the better part of 30.
And she just quit a huge job. She's still consulting and doing awesome stuff all over the place. But what was it that made you finally do it?
It was two things. I turned 50 and in COVID. And it just gave me the time and the space and the moment to really think about life and how short it is and what I really wanted to do for the next 50 years.
That's amazing. What advice do you have for people? Because I can sit here all day long and tell you to go for it, but Mo is a living testament. This is lived experience. How long have you been open? You started a pop-up store?
Mm-hmm. We started as a pop-up. We actually launched a website on my 50th birthday, just as sort of a goal to have, and then decided to do a little seasonal pop-up, and then things shifted, and here we are. And advice, first of all, listen to Mel Robbins, because I've been listening to her chirping in the background, and you know, I think that you have been a huge influence for me in taking the leap. And then, you know, it's scary, and it's not going to be perfect, but I had to do it. I just had to do it.
What's the hardest part?
Prioritizing how to spend time and energy, and what to focus on next.
Here's the piece of thing that I want you to take away from this. So first of all, Mo started while she was still in her old life. And so take baby steps. Second thing, she didn't get a store first. She launched it virtually first with a website.
Yeah.
And then she took another baby step, which is find like a temporary pop-up space, experiment, see what it feels like, and then you can lean into it more and more and more. But the main thing you don't want to do is you don't want to just sit there and think about it. You need to start taking micro actions forward. Because when you start doing that, all kinds of crazy stuff opens up. And now here we are in your beautiful store. If you're in Vermont, head to Middlebury. Please support one of my oldest, dearest, bestest of friends who is pursuing her dream. You're never too freaking old. If we can do it, you can certainly do it. Anything else you want to tell everybody?
Go for it.
Go for it. Just go for it. Life short. You could get hit by a car tomorrow. Seriously. You could.
Yes.
And like, it's over like that. So use the time that you have to pursue the things you've always dreamt of. Congratulations. Hey, so this question comes from Karen in Texas, and she writes about an issue that she says she's had her entire life. She says, quote, I overthink what I'm going to say. It has a negative impact on my business because I overthink my words before approaching customers. Would you have any suggestions to help me fight past this fear? Karen, absolutely. And this is something that a lot of people do, so you're not alone. First things first, you asked for advice in overcoming this fear, and I want you to think about this a totally different way. It's not a fear. You have a habit of stopping to think
before you actually speak. And once you start to think about this as a habit, you can change the behavior. If you think about things as fears, they become these big, scary things that are hard to fight. When you realize that patterns of behavior that you repeat that you can't stand are just habits, there's a whole science in how you break them. And so what you're going to have to do, and you're not going to like it, it's not going to feel comfortable, you're going to overthink the advice that I'm telling you because you have a habit of doing that. What you need to do is relatively simple. It's not going to feel easy. I want you to use the 5-second rule to push yourself through that habit that you have where you stop and you go upstairs. Here's how you're going to do it. The moment you're in a situation where you see somebody and you want to go talk to them, you're going to catch yourself starting to think. That's the trigger. That's the signal. That's when you need to do the new behavior, the 5-second rule. What you're going to do is you're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sounds stupid, but the reason why you're going to count to yourself, don't do it out loud. You can do it to yourself in your head. That right there, counting backwards, it's going to awaken your prefrontal cortex because it takes focus. That's a really important thing to understand because one of the things about a habit is the behavior's been repeated so many times, it's automatic for you to overthink, Karen. That's why you do it so much, because you've done it so many times. It's so easy for your brain to go there. So the second that you catch yourself overthinking, that's a moment of awakening. That's a moment of power. I want you to grab that moment. I want you to assert control, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then give yourself a push. Start walking. Now, what's going to happen as you start walking toward that person that you're going to speak to? Well, you're going to start freaking out. You're going to start overthinking again. Why are you going to do that? Because it's a habit. It's what you always do. And this is how you break behavior. You're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're going to keep walking until you get to the person. As you get to the person, you know what's going to happen, Karen? You're going to start overthinking. You're going to start worrying about what you should say. Why do you do that? Because it's a habit. Because you've taught yourself to do this. And now we're teaching yourself not to do it. The second you catch yourself overthinking again, you're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know this sounds insane. I know it does. But you're actually retraining your brain. You're basically training yourself. Very similarly, if you're right-handed and I gave you a pencil and said you can only write with your left hand now, you could do it, but it's going to take work. And your mind is really going to have to focus on making that left hand work, and it's not going to like it. The same is true, Karen, with thinking patterns. Overthinking is a habit. It's a pattern. If you want to break it, you have to interrupt it, and you have to insert something else. Now, are you going to say things that are really stupid? Maybe. Are you going to say things that you're going to regret? You might. Are you going to feel really freaked out as you're forcing yourself to talk instead of overthink? Definitely. And I would say that you're going to feel that way for probably, 10, 15 times. And then after you do it 10 or 15 times, guess what? It's going to start to get a lot easier. If you're really committed to breaking any pattern behavior or any pattern of thinking, this is what it takes. You have to catch yourself in the pattern. You have to regain control by awakening the prefrontal cortex. That's why you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you need to assert control. You can do it, Karen. Overthinking is a habit many people have. And what's so cool about breaking it is that you're going to gain the real confidence, not fake confidence, real confidence. Real confidence is what happens when you actually start to believe in your instincts and you believe in the things that you're thinking and that you actually say them instead of what you're doing right now, which is doubting yourself and overthinking. Let me know how that goes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You may use it 27 times in 1 hour, but this is what it takes to change behavior.
Mel, can you talk about pivoting in your life to start the next chapter? Oh, this is a layup. When you want to start your own business, but all the fears creep in and it seems safer to stay in your current position. How many of you can relate to this question? You really want to start a business, but you feel paralyzed because of the risk involved with that, right? And that's what Carolee's asking. Finding the time to build the business over the X number of months seems impossible when there are so many other things, including being a mom and a partner, and of course the work that I've got to do. The self-doubt becomes paralyzing, and it's easier to just stay busy with everyone else's needs. Here's the most important part of that question. You ready? It's easier. It's easier to stay busy. It's easier to stay where I am. It's easier to focus on everyone else. It's easier to listen to the fears. Changing is hard. Changing sucks. That's why it's so hard to do. It doesn't feel easy. It doesn't feel simple. It doesn't feel safe. That's why you need to push yourself. And so if you're somebody like Carol Lee, who is thinking about making a pivot, but you're paralyzed, you're going to have to find the courage to take action. You're going to have to find the confidence in believing in yourself and being able to try. You're going to have to create the discipline through creating small promises and learning how to keep them, because that's the foundation to changing anything. You know, habits is a big fancy word. Launching a business is a big thing. Getting anything done in your life, everyone, comes down to being able to make and keep the promises you make to yourself. And so, Carol Lee, first of all, you don't have to leave your job. What you have to do is you have to build the moment, you have to build the discipline of just working on it every single day for small amounts of time. And that's a new habit, because right now you're listening to the self-doubt, so you don't do anything. You're listening to the fears, so you don't do anything. You're listening to the needs of everybody else, because that's a habit, so you don't create time for yourself. And so what you need to do to launch this business is to have a breakthrough in one thing: the ability to make a plan and keep promises. That's it. And that's exactly, look, if you have the means to do it, the power of you is going to teach you how to do it. Because unlocking the power of you is about breaking the habits and patterns that are holding you back and establishing the small changes and patterns on a daily basis that start to propel your life forward. That's exactly. Mama on a Mission says people need this now more than ever. And I can't agree with you more. And selfishly, I'm bringing the power of you back because I need it. I need to write the next chapter in my business. I need to do the work to become a better person. So number one, if you are miserable in your life, and the way that I would unpack this is to say, if there are aspects of your life that you would not high five.
Yeah, there's an understatement.
Right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's true.
Yeah,
Isn't that
for
like
sure.
a simple way? If you
Yeah.
think about the person that you're dating or that you're married to and you would not give them a high five.
Oof.
That's a sign. That's a wake-up call. And it doesn't mean you necessarily have to leave, but it means you basically only have a couple choices. Either you get serious about what you want and you do the work to change how you're showing up and see if that changes the dynamic, or accept the way that it is, because it's not going to change, or leave. Those are your options. There's no middle ground here. Things do not change by just giving it more time to change. That's not how the world works. So that's rule number one. So if there's an aspect of your life, if you think about walking into the job that you have, and you do not want to high five the job, you do not want to high five the person you work for, you do not want to high five what your life looks like, change it. Because that is your body and your energy telling you it's not what you're up to in your life. It's not aligned with who you're meant to be. That's why you feel unhappy. That's why you feel constrained. That's why you feel depleted. The second thing that she said that you need to take to heart is that you got to be willing to ask for help, period. Because you don't have to do anything on your own, not in today's world. And help could mean taking an online course. Help could mean asking friends to support you. Help could mean asking your parents to let you sleep on the couch or move into the basement for a couple months while you figure it out. Help could mean asking your girlfriends to watch your dogs or watch your kids or watch whatever until you figure it out. So that's another thing she said. The other thing is this is it right here. This is the money. This is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. This is what I call a high five attitude. It's an attitude that's not grounded in arrogance. It's an attitude that you have, which is grounded in optimism and faith, and this belief that through your own attitude and your own effort, you can have a positive impact on any situation. In other words, just what Tara said, you can figure it out. And so then there will come the time when you got to jump. So you can figure it out. That's your attitude. Ask for help. That's one of the things you're going to do because you don't have to do this alone. And you're right.
And the next thing is you got to be willing to jump. And jump may mean that you're going to actually quit the job or you're going to leave the relationship. Or jump may mean that you're going to build a runway. And so one of the things that I really want to compliment you on is that you've been, how long have you been thinking about opening your own studio?
Since I first saw that I can gather a crowd, when I first saw that I had something unique.
Okay, and when did you realize that?
Pretty soon. Okay, no, pretty soon after I started. I've been a teacher for 6 years. People told me immediately that I should open my own thing, that I should do my own thing.
Okay, so
6 years ago.
Did you hear that, everybody? For 6 years, this has been building inside of her. And look, that's okay. Because sometimes you got to stay in something that's uncomfortable and do it in somebody else's business or somebody else's method to start to build the confidence so that you know you can figure it out, so that you know you've got the people to ask for help, so that you know you're ready to jump. And so one thing about Tara is she has been literally building a runway for 6 years. You have. And so I want you to understand that you're about to see Tara and I make a map. We're going to map out kind of what she needs to do between now and the studio opening so that she can fund her life, so that she can raise a little bit of money, so that she can get some momentum, so that she is busy putting strategic blocks in place. I want you to realize that if you're not ready to jump, all of these things are things, all of these examples that we're going to give you in the map that we're going to build for Tara, a lot of which she's already assembled, are meant to show you that it is possible to build a pathway between where you are and where you want to go. And you lay it brick by brick. And so for 6 years, keep in mind, even though Tara says, 2 days ago you quit your job?
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
So this is fresh. But for 6 years, she has been building a runway, right? So we're building a runway. And what's the purpose of the runway? The purpose of the runway is so that the plane can actually take off. The plane doesn't take off back here. So she's been teaching. She's been building an email list. She has a website, which is we're gonna put it up for you, Love Offensive, so that you can check out Tara, so that you can take her classes, so that you can support her campaign. She's been doing retreats on her own. They're amazing. She's been doing all this stuff for 6 years so that when she was ready to go, she had built a runway to take off. And so it's important, no matter where you are, to start putting the blocks in place. Well, now that you see that, now let's talk about this. So it's pretty easy to create a map. And I like to do it visually because it's so important when you're trying to make something happen that you get out of your head and you can see it. And I'm like a super visual person. So today is, I don't even know what the date is. What is today?
The 16th.
September 16th.
Yeah.
Okay, September 16th. And when I talked to you 2 days ago, guys, 2 days ago, she quits her job, she signs a lease, she's like, Mel, I got a couple $1,000s. Like, that's what I got. Okay, so the 16th, we got, whatever. We're just gonna put like 1K. She's got more than that, but whatever. October 1st is what? When you get the
lease, I get the keys.
October 1st is when she gets the keys to her new studio space. And what is the business going to be called?
Little Roadie Hot Power Yoga. I love that.
And when are you going to open the doors so people can come into the space?
Well, hopefully as soon as possible. I think realistically in December.
Okay,
probably.
great.
Yeah.
And here's what I like. Here's what I want to point out. I think giving yourself some breathing room between getting the keys and actually doors open is super important. One of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make is that we rush. And we, in rushing, put way too much pressure on our dreams. And so because of today's world and because of streaming and because of technology, these are the gifts, by the way, of the pandemic. People are so used to taking classes online now. They're so used to streaming yoga classes. They're so used to using Zoom that your actual business is up and running now or can be up and running fast before the doors open.
And by giving yourself 2 months, which I think is a very realistic time frame, from keys to doors open, you can now build the new runway, right? So this was the runway to be able to quit. Now we're going to build a runway that is same thing, from right now to December 1st, right? So all these little things just become dots on the map that help you gain momentum. Pretty cool, right? Mm-hmm. And having 2 months to be able to do that, to start laying out the bricks, is exactly what's going to allow you to breathe and to be present. And that's super important, because when you're giving birth to anything, when you're creating something, it's such a magical time, because there's so many people that are going to be drawn to this, because we are all longing for a sense of magic and vibrancy and something new. And so people are going to be excited that you're taking this on. And I want you to be able to be present and not stressed and frazzled and coming from scarcity, so that you can actually spot and witness all of the incredible things that are lining up for you.
Yeah.
Okay? Having that kind of high five mindset, that life is high fiving you back.
Yes.
And being able to see the magical ways in which that's happening, it's everything. So let me share, I'm gonna have Tara share with you basically 2 things that she's done, because the second that I found out that she quit, I said, great, no problem. You don't even need to worry about the money, because we're going to raise money and make money online as a way to fund your life and business before you even start.
Yes.
And we are going to also be able to utilize the 6 years of goodwill that you have built up by being everybody's, go-to yoga teacher. And you got people through the pandemic. So people want to support you. And so why don't you tell everybody what you did immediately that falls into the ask for help?
You're not really kidding with $1,000. I really jumped with absolutely no net and a faith that part of the runway is that I just constantly was where I said I would be when I said I would be there. That consistent reliability has built people to trust me.
Yeah.
So I need to turn and little by little, not ask too much from one person, but I started a GoFundMe campaign.
Great.
With an estimated cost of opening the studio, a line item of everything from a huge
60 grand, right?
Mm-hmm.
60 grand. So she started a GoFundMe campaign a day ago. How much money do you have already?
$9,000.
$9,000. And the average, it looked like the average donation was about $1,000. And so I asked her, and here's the thing, if you've already been out in the world doing good, or you have an incredible business plan, a GoFundMe campaign is extraordinary, because none of us like to ask for help. We think we're supposed to do it all on our own. The fact is, other people want to help you, especially if you've been showing up for them.
That's it.
And so a couple things about GoFundMe campaigns. There's some really interesting research that once you get to 50%, the majority of GoFundMe campaigns that are that reach 50% or more funded, they actually, like 90% of them go on to be fully funded.
Oh, nice.
And it's because people want to bet on something.
Yeah.
The other thing that you should do is put a video up. So right now, there's her page right there. I want you to put a video up. Really speaking from the heart, I want you to put a video up touring your new place and your vision, because that allows people to invest in the emotion and the vision, not just investing because of their relationship with you. Yeah. And your GoFundMe campaign will go a little bit wider, okay? So those are 2 things I want you to do. I want you to do a video, and for now, just let people donate. But if you really want to supercharge it, in about a week, send out to everybody that everybody that's donated, here's a link to a class as a thank you that you can play forever. And maybe it's a class that's for free on your Facebook page. It doesn't matter. You're just sending them a thank you. Then what I want you to do is I want you to say, for anybody willing to donate $1,500, I will give you a year membership to my new studio.
Oh, that's great.
And so that Or maybe it's
Yeah.
$2,000.
Yeah.
You get a year of streaming, a year of unlimited classes. You're a part of the founders circle.
Yep.
So you're going to
Yep.
want to ask for, and this is almost like when a company raises money, you'll get X percentage company. You'll get equity in this company if you give us a certain amount of money to invest in our growth.
Yes.
And so you will then, ask for something, 1,500, whatever, 99, whatever it is that you think that is for a 1 year value. And then that allows people to double down. You thank them for whatever they gave, and it allows people to double down. Now, if anybody already gave you that, write to them and say, here's what I'm going to do for you because you gave me that already. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. So that'll help you supersize this.
Awesome.
Then what you want to do is figure out how you can start, and you've already done this. So right now we've got the GoFundMe right here.
Yep.
You are also now starting to stream classes where people can pay per class.
Yes. On Zoom.
Excellent. Okay. The other thing that you've done, I've noticed, is that when October 1 happens, that you are streaming and you are giving people the option to get a month, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the people that have paid this will automatically be part of that. Now, here's where social media comes in. I'm sure you were already going to do this, but when you're streaming those classes, make sure you're in the empty studio so that you are inviting people into the new space.
Great.
And at the end of every space, thank everybody who is part of your founders circle, who has donated $1,500 to have access for a year or whatever you're going to charge, right? And so you've done your class, you thank everybody that paid, and say, if you're interested in becoming a member of our founders circle, this is something that we're doing until doors open. Share it with your friends. Anybody can take yoga class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got that?
Yes.
Your social media strategy should be taking everybody along the journey with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Live streaming every day. Guys, I'm here. We're putting up the paint color. Do you like lilac or blue?
Yeah.
Hey, this is what happens today. Cannot thank my founders circle enough. You want to make sure your social strategy is all about this journey. Got it? And the GoFundMe link is the link in all your social bios now.
Yes.
Got it?
Yes.
Excellent.
Awesome.
So what do you charge? Let's talk about this right now.
The thing is, at the moment, I haven't been officially charging.
No problem.
because-
Let's
No, no.
decide right now. If you were to charge your friend tomorrow, which we're not, but you could say, I need you to be my first paying client. You're buying dinner the next 2 nights, and it better be worth $500. Like, I don't know. I'm just making it up.
If I'm honest with you, I don't think, I think 250 would be my start, and then I'd move up from there, a session, because I'm worth it. Like,
Well, first of all, you're going to give me clarity in my life,
I know what,
and you're
Loads
only
of
charging me $250. Are you serious now?
I know. Okay. All right.
Is it one session? How many sessions would it take for me working with you to really feel like I got this purpose map or whatever you call it?
One session will make you know that I'm the right person for you.
Perfect.
Simple as that.
Then maybe you do this. Maybe you do this until you get going. It's a $250 consultation.
Yes.
And either way, you're going to leave with X.
Yeah.
And if you decide that you want me to do this process with you, it's $2,500 and it takes X. And you will still, for the $250, get X, Y, and Z, but that's what I charge. I have a wait list. I only work with a certain number of people. That's it.
That works.
Okay. I'm going to tell you a story. So this is super important because you cannot price yourself based on your insecurity. You
That's the
have to
problem,
price yourself based on what the market perceives is valuable. And I'm going to share with you an example. So as my speaking career started to take off, and I started getting booked and booked and booked and booked and booked. And I had this agent, he's like, you got to raise your price, dude. And keep in mind,
5 years ago, I still had liens on my house. So I was coming from a real scarcity mindset. And I was getting $25,000 a speech, which I thought was insane. I had never made that kind of money. Of course, you've got agents, so 25% goes off the top, but I was still like almost embarrassed to say, well, that's my, I didn't even have to say it. He said it. I was embarrassed that how is somebody paying me that? This would have probably been 6 years ago. And there was a bank, publicly traded bank, Fortune 100 financial institution. Their CEO was having a retreat. Their chief HR officer was at like I can't remember whether it was like Rodan and Fields or, one of the multi-level marketing companies. And she's like, you got to get Mel Robbins in here to teach the 5-second rule. So I get brought into Philadelphia. This was the most nerve-wracking speech I'd ever given in my entire life, because I found out that Dan Pink, the New York Times bestselling author, and this like super famous coach that's like a CEO coach who also has a big consulting company and multiple New York Times bestsellers, they were both speaking that day. So like a complete moron, I go the night before and then sit in the back of the room to watch these greats go. And the whole time I'm having a panic attack because I'm thinking, they're so good. There's no, I don't know what I'm going to say. How am I going to top this? This is so good. Oh my God. They're going to want their money back. I deliver the speech. I fucking kill it. At the end of the speech, standing ovation, the whole thing, because the 5-second rule, when I give a speech on stage, it's like a multimedia emotional thing. It's really a speech about anxiety and mental health and suicide and the 5-second decisions that change your life.
Yeah.
And so everybody's a mess. And the chief HR officer comes up to me afterwards and she says, Mel, I have to tell you something. And I said, great. And she said, we almost didn't hire you. And I said, why? And she said, because you were so inexpensive. We were told you were so good that when we heard your price, we actually didn't believe that you could be as good as everybody says you are. And then she said, that coach got paid 3 times what you got paid. That author got paid 4 times what you got paid. Oh, and you were 50 times better than either one of them. She said, you have to raise your prices because your price that you're charging does not match the value that you give. And if you underprice yourself because of your insecurity, you are communicating that you're not, that the value isn't worth it. Okay. And so you've got to think the kind of person that you want to, and for many of you, for example, B-School, that's a stretch. It's not an inexpensive program. But because it was a stretch, didn't that make you feel that there must be value in that program? Yeah. You see, nobody actually wants to feel like they're a bargain. People want to feel as if you see the potential and the growth. People want to feel like this is going to be worth it. And, the truth is, I get paid $100,000 to give a 1-hour speech at this point. Because starting to raise the price raised my game. There's a reason why I'm the #1 female speaker in the world. There's a reason why people don't even blink. It's because when she said that to me, it was a fucking gift. Because I was letting my insecurity price me. I didn't even see
my own potential and my value. And it's important for you guys to hear that number, not because I'm bragging. I mean, clearly, if I'm, to your point, Scarlett, there's lots of things that we could be doing this afternoon. And I just wanted to be with you guys because I'm so excited that you're investing in yourself. And I'm in it to make an impact. When you cross the line from wanting to make an impact to truly going, I'm going to also make a fucking business out of this. You got to think like a businesswoman. And there is tremendous value to what you're doing. And by the way, just because you can't do it for yourself doesn't mean you're not providing value. It's very hard to do for yourself what you can do for other people.
Yes.
I don't coach myself. Other people coach me.
I agree. I fully agree with that. I know that I can give everyone the best advice, the best training, the best resources. And then sometimes when it comes to myself, I'm like, okay, it's not until I hear it back, somebody else is giving me that information. I'm like, yeah, I know that. Why don't I do it for myself? That's the reason. I can't lie. I recently came across you, Mel, when I was fully focused on what it is I wanted to do. You came up everywhere in my timeline, everywhere. And I know that nothing is on purpose. Nothing is not supposed to be. Like, I know everything's intentional, right? So God showed up. He said, this is what you need to do. This is who you need to follow. This is who you're supposed to be kind of learning from. So I decided, I started subscribing. I was listening to all of your podcasts. I'm like, okay, I got to buy all their books. And Maria, I found about her last year. Her school came up last year and I'd missed it. So I signed up to the waiting list and I saw it pop up and I thought, am I ready for that? And then you popped up with the interview you had with her. And I was like, okay, this is it. And then it came up again. And I'm like, Tanya, do not miss this, because it's going to blow your mind and it's going to elevate you, which in turn means that you are going to be that gift to somebody else. So therefore, if I don't show up, that means somebody else doesn't show up and doesn't get to do what they're supposed to do. So yeah, I'm so grateful, honestly.
I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful that all of you are here. And let me say one more thing about the money. When we underprice ourselves, we are actually making it harder for other women.
Yes, that part. Yeah.
You are not doing yourself any favors. You are not doing anybody else any favors. And by the way, you're not doing your client any favors by giving them a bargain. People don't want to feel like you expect less of them. People want to feel like you see something more for them. If somebody can't pay the $250, they shouldn't work with you. That's not the business you're in.
That's true.
They need to do the work to find the $250 so that they can then actually show up and work with you.
I agree. Okay. I'm so gassed.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about why you signed up for B School.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So in 2019, I got certified with the John Maxwell team as a coach, speaker, teacher, and trainer. And I absolutely love it. And I feel like this is my destiny. I'm supposed to do this, right? I've had a crazy life, by the age of 10, I probably went through more than anybody has at the age of 50. But yeah, so I feel like that's important. And I was working with executive women and just up and coming leaders. But now since I started B School, I switched my focus to work with teens and young adults, because I think that that is the foundation, right? The 15 to 25, when you're really trying to figure out your life and like where you're going to go, and that your circumstances don't define who you are. So that is what I'm kind of doing right now. And I just, I saw you post it, and I love Marie, and it was the exact calling that I needed. I just finished both of your books, the 5-second rule and the high five habit. And I was just like, you know what? I feel like God's telling me this is what I need to do. And so I took the leap and I did it, and I could not be happier. I've gotten so clear, but anyway, I'm going to stop talking. So that's why.
Oh, no, don't stop talking. So that's fantastic. So here's what I want you to do. tell me about the business. So you want to make a difference with youth. Do you want to be a life coach? Do you want to be a therapist? Do you want to offer programs? Like, tell us the vision. And everybody, I'm going to teach as we're doing this. So when you have an opportunity to explain your business, and you might not know the answer to this because there's no right answer, practice getting clearer and clearer about what you're putting out into the world. So paint the picture for me so I, as a potential consumer or supporter of the business, understand what you do.
Okay, so I work with young adult women and teens between the ages of 15 and 25 to help them take their goals and turn them into achievable successes.
Cool. And so who hires you? Parents?
Yeah, so they're my ideal target as far as the decision maker, and the 15-year-old to 25-year-old women are who I actually work with. So as far as mentoring and coaching is what I focus on.
Fantastic. So as a parent, if I had a child in that age group, you would be somebody, if I were looking for a therapist or a college advisor or whatever, and my kid needs something, but they just like, I can't do it because I'm fighting with them all the time and they seem undirected and they're pissing, like you're the person that I'm like, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, great. How can I help you? What are you struggling with, or what question do you have specifically that I can help you with?
Yeah. So since I just changed directions to work with teens and young adults, now it's really kind of getting into the mindset of how do I approach the parents? Where do I find them? So I have a 9-to-5 that I work with as well through a corporation. So it was easier for me to find young women leaders before because I was always in front of them. But now I have to change that. And I guess I'm not quite sure how to do that. Do I approach schools, or do I try to do some speaking there? Or is it that I just have to find a platform where moms and parents are?
Okay. So what you're asking is, how do I find the people that would buy from me, right? How do I reach the people I want to make an impact for? What I don't want you to do, everybody, is I don't want you to have a needle in a haystack mentality. I don't want you to narrow your focus and say, should I go to schools? Should I do this? Should I do that? I want you to invert it. Okay. And what I mean by that is, instead of looking for the singular thing, the singular place that you're going to find people, I want you to first think about, what is it that I need to put out into the world? What conversation do I want to be having on social media so that anybody looking for this sort of thing can find me? And when you're just getting started, what that means, in my opinion, and again, you're going to get all kinds of information in this course, all kinds of resources, but to just get started, everybody, you need a one-pager in terms of your website. I personally believe if you are launching a service-based business where you are the one providing the service, I prefer that your name be the URL. And if you cannot get your name, somehow get your name in it. Because if you think about it, when people are going to refer you to other people, they're not going to remember the such and such coaching service or the this and that, blah, blah, blah. They're going to refer you, the human being. You even just said, I got certified in John Maxwell. You referred to John Maxwell. And so first and foremost, you want to make sure you understand you are the brand. Okay. So don't worry about a fancy name. If you have a fancy name, that's no big deal. But I want to encourage you to really think about the fact that you want to build equity in your name. My husband and I right now are building this house in Southern Vermont. And the guy that is building it, Eric Gutbeer, he has a construction company. I think it's Red Mountain Construction. I never refer to the construction company, even though that's what's on his car. That's what the website is. That's what the URL handle is. I only ever refer to him as Eric. And that's how I would introduce him to somebody. The woman that's helping me pick out the stuff, like, so that it's like, we got tile and that stuff. Her business is called Blend Designs. I don't refer to people to Blend Designs. I refer them to Christina. And so if you are a service-based business, do not underestimate how important it is that you build your name. That's number one. Number two, I believe it is extraordinarily important for you to start having a conversation with the world about what you do. What does that mean? That means before you go into a school and start talking to people, make sure you have a one-page website that somebody can find you at, or a Facebook page that looks legit, or a LinkedIn page that looks like a place online that people can find you, where you explain that this is what you do. And the reason why you want that is because if you do go into a school and you talk to somebody, they're then going to Google you, or they're then going to want to go look, and they just need to see a page. That's it. You need a place just to get started. Because a lot of times in the beginning, I got myself totally freaked out about, oh, I need 10 pages. I need this. I need testimonials. I need the other thing. If you're making the pivot now, keep it simple, because that's going to give you the confidence to be able to get out there and know that people are going to see something that backs up what you're saying. And it can be very simple. Third thing is, and I'm going to hammer this a lot, everybody, social media. Your social media accounts, especially if you're in business for yourself, should reflect what you're doing in business. Whether you're taking a photo of yourself with your favorite book for teenagers, whether you are writing short passages, whether you're doing those little swipe series, the 7 things that make, girls, insecure, ages 15, whatever. I want you to start to realize that even more important than your website, your social media is speaking volumes about what you do. And the reason why I went from don't have a needle in the haystack mindset, let's invert it and let's make sure that you're everywhere before you think about where the audience is because when you start to walk into schools, when you start to have parents hire you to work with their kids, there is going to be a chain reaction of people who are going to want to talk to you about what you're doing. And I'm going to tell you why. Let me just take a sip of water. It is impossible to find a therapist. Anxiety levels in kids are through the roof. There has never been a greater need for somebody to offer coaching services to kids. And you want to make it very easy and very clear that this is what you do. Can't find a therapist and you really just need somebody to provide structure and goal setting and accountability. I work with kids with ADHD. I work with kids like this. I work with kids like that. I have experience in this. There you go. Make it very easy for them to understand what you do and to reach out and ask you about it. And so once you have a one-pager, once you've got 1 or 2 posts that look fine, it does not have to be like a full-on content strategy. Now you're in business. And then, yes, you should go to schools. The other place that you should go, where else have you thought about going before I just tell you all this? Because I'm sure you know.
Yeah, so I've obviously thought of the schools. I've thought of high schools and college. I have an 18, well, she's going to be 18 in a couple of weeks, my daughter. And so I was thinking about talking to her and getting in front of her friends and maybe doing some surveys of like what they're struggling with, and then just talking to their parents. I mean, I have 4 children. I should be able to talk to parents. And I think that, again, that social circle.
Now, hold on. Did anybody else pick up on a little insecurity there? I have 4 kids. I should be able to talk to parents. Yeah. So my suspicion is that are you sure about your pricing? And are you sure about the program you're offering?
No, I'm not. So the program, I think that's what it is. I know what I want to do.
What do you want to do?
I just want to mentor girls so that they know that their circumstances and the hard decisions that they go through at a young age aren't going to define who they are as they become adults. And I don't know why that's so, it's definitely a mindset. I know it's all mindset, and I feel it in my bones when I talk about it, that I have the ability to do it and I'm holding myself back. And I don't know why.
Yeah, you do. Why are you holding yourself back?
Oh man. Probably because I had such a rough upbringing, and I feel like sometimes that still haunts me. And I think that people don't look at me as the professional or the girl who overcame. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in the girl who was.
Okay, question. Do you live in the place you grew up?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is going to, if you live in the place that you grew up and you had a very rough childhood and you experienced childhood trauma, the only person who needs to be convinced that you've overcome it is you.
Yeah.
What did you just get?
Oh, I got a whole lot. Like, yes, that is right. I need to let it go. And,
Well, you'll never let it go because it's a part of you. Like, the thing about trauma is it gets stored in your nervous system.
yeah.
And so there's lots that you can do to smooth out your nervous system and to heal what's been recorded in your subconscious and in your nervous system. That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
The conversation that you and I need to have is the one about the story you're telling yourself. You've brought up your past multiple times. And in my world, all of that hardship that you went through is the reason why you have expertise in this area. It is the reason why kids that age would listen to you. It is the reason why you are perfectly equipped to make a difference. And all that you need is a system. You see, I think a lot of times we all get tripped up, everybody, because we think we've got to mentally be there when that's a big battle. If we just create some simple systems and you focus on following the systems, your mindset catches up with the systems. It's through your actions that you change your life and you change your beliefs about yourself. And so if you're waiting, or Alexis, or any of you are waiting to feel ready or waiting to feel like people are going to believe you or this, that, and the other thing, you will wait for the rest of your life. We need to equip each one of you with a couple simple steps that create a system that allow you to take actions that align with the person you know you are deep down inside. So what do I mean when, in your case, when I talk about systems? Well, number one system would be a pricing structure and a program. And I'm going to give you the one that I started with when I started a life coaching business in 2001. And then I'm going to talk about mentoring versus coaching, okay? Because it's two totally different things. One of them is volunteer and the other is paid, okay? And so I do not want you to confuse those two things. When I got started as a life coach in 2001, I had a very simple system for pricing what I did and for recruiting clients. This is what I said. I said, I work with successful people who feel stuck or bored in life. And just about everybody that would hear me say that would go, well, shit, that's me. And then they would say, what do you do? I say, well, I am a master at helping you figure out what to do next, what's not working, how to fix it. I hold you accountable. And if you don't do what I say, I fire you as a client. And then people would say, what? You fire me? And I say, yes, because if you're not going to do what I say, why would I coach you? My job is to tell you what to do so that you can start to feel more fulfilled and less stuck. Okay, that sounds interesting. What's the price? I think I was like $75 an hour when I started. And I had no retainer. I had no minimum amount of time. I didn't have like a 3-month program, a 6-month this. There are a lot of coaches that are like, you got to commit. You got to commit to the 6 months. You got to pay in full in advance. I was so insecure when I started my business. I'm like, I will do anything to get somebody to say yes. So let me make the bar so low that, hey, we have our first call. It's an hour. It's $75. If I do a good job, we book the next one. If you cancel in less than 24 hours, you still owe me the $75. And that was that. And it made it easy for somebody to say yes. And it allowed me to create a little system. When somebody said, what do you do for a living? I said, life coach. What's that? Oh, it means that I work with successful people who feel stuck or bored. Oh, that sounds like me. How does it work? Oh, well, I basically boss you around until you get your act together. Really? Yes. If you don't do what I say, I fire you. For real? Yes. How much does it cost? Oh, it's simple. I don't like fancy, complicated things. It's $75 an hour. You pay as you go. If I don't like you, we don't keep going. If you don't like me, we don't keep going. There you go. It takes about 3 months typically. Really? Really? Oh, okay. So you want to book a call? Yes. Holy shit, I have a client. Okay, now what do I do? So you need that system so that you're not doing focus groups, because you don't need to do focus groups. What does a parent need right now?
Support, understanding, help.
Yes. And how much would a parent likely pay if they had a trusted resource that their kid would speak to for an hour every week or two? How much would you pay?
I would pay any amount, honestly. But I don't know, like $100.
$100 a what?
An hour or a session. Most sessions would be an hour.
Okay, terrific. There you go. There's your system. Do you have a minimum number of meetings?
See, I did. I was doing 3 months and I didn't like that. So I like we do one session, see how it goes. If I like you and if you like me, I love that. That took so much pressure off. As soon as you were saying that, I literally felt it all lift. That's incredible.
And then here's another service. You ready? And mom and dad, assuming your kids are 18 and under, we also have a session.
Yeah.
Because I need to know what's actually going on, and you need to know what I'm talking to your kid about.
Yeah.
And my job is to help your child be successful and feel better about themselves as they're filling out applications, or as they're sorting through their stuff and you're waiting to get them into therapy, or you're like all that stuff. That's how you get started. And see, what's going to happen is this: you get 2 or 3 kids on the roster, and parents, as you know, talk. And what you want them to do is to say, oh, well, we hired Alexis. She's been amazing. She's helping them stay more organized, feel more confident. It's just been a wonderful resource. And then other parents are like, can you give me her name? And that's how it starts. And then what will happen, because this is what happened to me, it's going to happen to you, is when you have a simple way to kind of get started, you do not need focus groups at all. You need a 1-page website. You need a simple system for pricing. You need a way to talk about what you do so that other people can tell other people. And then once you get going, you'll feel your way there. You'll determine once you get moving, oh, I only like 10 clients at a time. Oh, I would prefer a 3-month retainer. Oh, I prefer clients that get referred in by a therapist. Oh, no, I actually love working with kids that are applying to college. And so there's a lot of guidance counselors that send people to me. And so you'll find your way that way.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much. And I did use my name. So yay there. And I did just actually get my page done. I just need to add a subscription spot. So thank you so much, Mel. Oh my gosh. I thank you so much.
Awesome. Awesome. And I love Elena cheering for you that you can do this. Stay close with this group, everybody. There's nothing that is preventing you from connecting with each other, reaching out to each other, supporting each other? What did you get from this conversation?
Sorry, are you asking me or are you asking?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Okay. I got clarity. And honestly, I think for me, it was somebody else saying that I am capable, right? Like just hearing those words, like I know that I'm capable and I have the experience, and that's why people would value what I have to say.
You know why people value what you have to say? Because you value what you have to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why. Do you believe that if somebody hands you their kid and $100 an hour, that you would make a positive difference?
Wholeheartedly.
That's the only thing you need to know. Okay?
Thank you.
And here's another trick, everybody. Feel sorry for people that don't hire you. Not sorry like I pity you, but just like, oh, what a shame. Oh, you're really missing out on that. That's too bad. Really sorry for you.
Awesome.
Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for checking this video out. And if you like this one, I have a feeling you're going to like this one too. I'll see you there.